More of the nation's business leaders making their way through the National Summit in Detroit. Rebecca's there. You saw her, and she's here back with another interview. Rebecca.
Thank you, Erin. And the interview is Steve Odland. He's chairman and CEO of Office Depot. Great to see you. Thanks so much for being here. I know you're speaking later today. But right now, we were talking about the economy, and you say small business is the heart of the story.
Well, Rebecca, if you look at all of the recessions and the kind of recoveries that we've experienced over time, they've all been led out by small business. And Office Depot's customers are small businesses, so we feel like we have the finger on the pulse of this sector. But small businesses are so important to our economy. They create all the jobs in our economy. They lead, through these kind of different slowdowns and so forth. And right now, I think all eyes are on small business.
So let's get to the nitty-gritty. How are they? Are they healthy? What are they telling you?
Well, I think this is an interesting slowdown, and it's different than others. Most small businesses finance their businesses through their homes, home equity lines of credit, refis, and so forth. Talk to any small businessman and say, how'd you start your business? And he'll say, I took out a second mortgage or something like that. The housing market is really leading this economic meltdown. And as a result, we're worried about the small business. So we need liquidity to come back into the marketplace, either through the housing market or through other means for small businesses then to perform their traditional role of leading us through this.
So they're still feeling the pinch.
Well, I think they are, because the housing market is still down and people are not able to take out the kind of liquidity measures through their homes. And so these small businesses have nowhere to go for liquidity. It's really important that banks and other forms of lending step up for small businesses, and so that they're able to create the jobs that they normally do to take up the gap in this kind of a recession.
Where would you say in the cycle we are right now?
Well, this isn't traditional because it's housing-led. Typically, we would find ourselves at the bottom, and we would see, once you start seeing the large layoffs from big companies, those people typically go out, create small businesses, kitchen table kinds of things, and then lead us through with job recovery. The best estimates are that sometime at the beginning of next year, we should see that kind of a recovery. But what we're worried about is the liquidity for these small business people for that to happen.
On the consumer sentiment side of things, clearly small businesses play a huge role in this country. They're most of the employers in this country, and they're consumers. On the consumer sentiment side of things, we've seen an uptick in confidence. Do you see that in your stores?
Well, I think that that's true, that there has been an uptick. Part of it is I think we've all adjusted to being a little poorer following, the market meltdown, and the market's come back a little bit, so I think that has helped some of the confidence. I think overall the consumer is cautious, and so what we see is the consumer going to the high discount kinds of stores, the dollar stores and the Walmarts and so forth. Our stores are impacted mostly by small businesses who, of course, need to come back through and they need liquidity to come back. So we're very cautious during this period of time.
Liquidity is part of the picture. What do you think the government, businesses, all of the enterprises out there need to do right now to secure a better future for America going forward?
Well, it's all about jobs, and we're all worried about the levels of unemployment. And large businesses typically churn jobs. They destroy as many as they create, and it's a good cycle typically as people become more productive. But the net creation happens at the smallest end. People with under 10 employees, under 20 employees, people going out on their own. And that's why liquidity is so important. They need means of financing their startups and financing their expansion at these very small businesses.
So you're saying the banks need to start lending?
Well, the banks are only about a fourth to a third of the total lending. It's the banks.
Shadow banking system.
It's the banks, and it's every aspect of it. The government SBA, but the SBA loans are very small. So I think all of us need to come together and step up for these small businesses.
Steve Odland, Chairman and CEO of Office Depot. Erin and Mark, back over to you. Thanks so much.